Oh, what a night this one was for the Padres in Pittsburgh. They beat the Pirates. They beat the Pirates grounds crew, and they shut out Pittsburgh in game one of this three-game series, 6-0. Solo edition of the wrap-up show. You've got John. We don't have Swiss Jim, who is in the Alps in Switzerland on his honeymoon, on his way for Italy. So make your way in. The Padres are in sole possession of first place in the NL wildcard race. They can gain a game potentially on the Dodgers. That game in progress right now. At last check, LA losing to Philadelphia. Chat, keep me updated on that. Here tonight, when that game goes final between the Dodgers and the Phillies, this was impressive. We'll get into the circumstances. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this rain delay and really what was a shit show, in my opinion. So we'll spend a good amount of time on that. They burned through Dylan Cease. It doesn't matter because the Padres have as good of a bullpen as there is right now in baseball. And Donovan Solano, 4 hits. And the Padres have won 12 of 15. Stop me if you've heard that before. So, John, with you on the wrap-up show. Here's what we're going to do tonight with your help. We're going to get to 6,700 subscribers. I need you guys tonight. I'm doing this thing solo, so I can't do this without you. So let's get to 6,700 subscribers together. Padres fans, this is the home of Real Padres Talk. You can get it here. We're 40 subscribers away. Please subscribe, all right? Year-on content for Padres fans. Smash the like button for me. We'd love to get to 400 likes in this video here tonight, live and on replay. Follow me on X at John Schaefer. Don't follow Jim. You can mute Jim while he's in Switzerland. Here's the deal. I really do appreciate the super chats. I want to give a special shout-out to Carlos, who has gotten us started here tonight with 4 super chats, which is super cool. And I really appreciate it, Carlos, your support of the channel. Also, when I do these shows solo, it's impossible for me to keep up with the chat. If you want to make sure I see what you're talking about, make sure to do it with the super chat. Click the $ below the chat box. Carlos, I'm going to get to all of yours momentarily once I start the show. And thank you for the memberships as well. If you want custom emojis and badges, you can click the join button down below. So this could have gone like most Padres games, one of 2 ways, right? But you know, if you heard me on John and Jim today in the 3 o'clock hour, you heard me outline the worst case scenario from like a team perspective in terms of what they were going to do. I knew it was going to happen. There were thunderstorms in Western Pennsylvania. For some unknown reason, they started this game, and 17 minutes later, the tarp is on the field. That's on the umpires. That's on the grounds crew. I'm sorry. I don't care. They can say whatever they want. Mike Schill can praise the plate umpire and the grounds crew, and they did this amazing job. I don't buy it. And it's not accurate. So 17 minutes in, Dylan Cease has thrown an inning. The Pirates starter has thrown 2. Tarp goes on the field. And now you're thinking, are you going to get these starters back? Is this game going to be finished? Are we going to have a quasi doubleheader, completion of a suspended game and then a second game? Or what are they going to do here? And if it's anything longer than like an hour delay, you're potentially losing the starters, which is the worst possible scenario. You could have banged the game and then Dylan Cease could just throw tomorrow, or you could have started the game late and Dylan Cease could just warm up and pitch the game, even if it started late. But they elected for the, lesser, the worst possible option, which was starting the game and then putting a tarp on the field 17 minutes later. Now, it could have been salvaged if not for the Pirates grounds crew that completely botched this thing. They took the tarp off the field. They tried to start this game about, 75 minutes after the delay. It would have allowed Dylan Cease to get right back up like he did against the Nationals a couple of weeks ago when he threw his no-hitter. He had warmed up. There was a 90-minute delay. He was able to pitch in that game because the delay wasn't longer than that. Everything was ready except the warning track, which had puddling. It didn't drain properly. It was like a cacophony of errors. It was a calamity. It really was. And the umpires are on the phones, and Mike Schiltz on the phone, and Pirates managers on the phone, and they're talking to front offices, and they're talking to Major League Baseball New York. And we just wait and wait and wait. It ends up being a 2-hour and 40-minute delay. Dylan Cease, of course, is chased from the game. That's like the worst possible scenario. He's pitched as well as anyone in baseball. At that point, you're thinking, okay, well, the glass half full way of looking at it is it's going to be a battle of the bullpens. The Padres have the best bullpen in baseball, arguably. And it did turn out to be the case because Brian Hoeing was excellent and the leverage relievers came through. And then the Padres do what they do. Another 4-run inning. They've had so many of them. Just taking advantage of balls off gloves in the field and Donovan Solano with timely hitting again. Yes, we'll get into it. Donovan Solano absolutely needs to be playing more. They didn't have Ha-Seong Kim here tonight. It worked out, though, with Donovan Solano in the lineup. And they don't have to pitch Robert Suarez, which I think was to their advantage because they used a lot of relievers here today. They had to cover 8 innings with their bullpen. We'll see if that catches up to them or not later this series or in Miami. And we'll also see the next time Dylan Cease When is he going to throw again? Is it going to be in Miami? I don't think it's Thursday in Pittsburgh. That would shock me. A day rest and then you put him back on the horse, so to speak. It doesn't make sense. He's pitching too well. The team's playing too well. They're 10 games over 500. They're in sole possession of the top wild card spot. I don't think you force it here with Cease. Could he throw Friday or Saturday? I think it's a possibility. What does it mean for Joe Musgrove, who was supposed to pitch this weekend in Miami? So we'll get into all of it here over the next hour. But all things considered, this could have been a complete and utter disaster. Like this to me is a complete fail. I spent 15 years in minor league baseball. Has anyone heard that? Have you heard me say that before? This reminded me of so many nights in the minor leagues to a T. You start a game for absolutely no reason. They misjudge the weather. The weather moves in. You lose your starters. There's multiple hour delay. Everyone's upset. Nothing goes right. You're at the ballpark until midnight. Everything that can go wrong could go wrong, so to speak, but not with the Padres right now. Not with the way they're playing. They overcome it all. They put it all to the side, to their credit, and they beat the Pirates, and they beat the Pirates grounds crew, so to speak, and they beat this umpiring crew, in my opinion, as well. 6-0. So please subscribe. Let's get to 6,700 subscribers between now and the replay of the show over the next 24 hours before tomorrow's wrap-up show. Please do subscribe, the home of Real Padres Talk. Smash the like button for me, and thank you for the super chats. I'm going to get to all of them here tonight. Great way to support the channel and make sure I see your comments here tonight. Let's get kick-started with a longtime viewer. Special shout-out for Carlos. Can we get some clap emojis in the chat for Carlos, who is a loyal supporter, huge Padres fan. I was his guest in Mexico City, which was terrific a year ago. We've done games before at Petco Park as well. Just a terrific, terrific fan. And thank you, Carlos, for hanging out tonight. And he starts us off by saying that he doesn't want to see Ha-Seong Kim in the lineup ever again. I think it's probably somewhat tongue-in-cheek and facetious, but the point is the point, which is Donovan Solano needs to see the field and needs to see the lineup because he's too dynamic of a hitter, and this isn't specific to left-handed starting pitching. Yes, he's going to get most of his time against left-handed starting pitching in the scenario we've laid out where Cronenworth may sit and Solano may play, but the truth is he did his damage tonight against right-handed relief pitching from Pittsburgh. So I don't know what to say other than it's a good problem to have too many good players. Kim has benefited this team, not necessarily at the plate like Solano, but in the field. You look at some of the advanced analytics, you look at WAR, and Ha-Seong Kim has put together obviously a good year. But Donovan Solano has been one of the great pickups in baseball this year. The Padres have a few of them, and Solano is clearly one of them. So, the point is the point, and the point is Donovan Solano needs to find his way into that lineup. And it is absolutely something to consider. It's hard to take a bat as hot as Solano's out of the lineup. It just is. Not just 4 hits, but 4 RBIs, big hits. He's had so many of them here this year. Carlos follows up by saying not having to play a doubleheader is huge. I agree with you. Arizona will have to play. It's very difficult to win both. Also, good day. Mets, Braves lost. And again, he mentioned the fact that the Dodgers and Phillies are playing right now in the top of the 9th inning at Dodger Stadium. The Phillies have a 4-2 lead. The Dodgers did score a run in the 8th, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened than the Dodgers overcoming a 2-run deficit. But should that score hold, the Padres inching closer in the NL West. We said pay attention. Padres have earned the right for Padres fans to pay attention to the Dodgers because the Padres have played well and the Dodgers have been relatively pedestrian. And should that score hold, the Padres not only are the top wildcard team in the National League, they're 4 games out. Should that score hold? We'll see. We'll wait on it, and then we'll react once that game goes final. Carlos follows up by saying, hoping Cease can go Thursday after 14 pitches. Mike Schultz was asked about this post-game. I just watched it on Padres.tv. He said it was unlikely. He didn't know, but he thought it would be unlikely because we'll see how he feels tomorrow, even though it was only 14 pitches, but he threw a bullpen. He threw 14 pitches. He ramped back up to pitch at 8:15. The game didn't start until well after that. So they'll see how he feels tomorrow, which would then surprise me if he threw on Thursday. I don't know what they're going to do on Thursday. It's a good point. And they just threw 8 innings here today, so you wouldn't think a true bullpen game on Thursday, but I don't know what their options are. I would think Cease is pitching Friday or Saturday in Miami. That would be my guess. And they would treat today like a bullpen, give him a couple of days, and then throw him in Miami. But maybe they use today. Then he throws a bullpen Thursday, and he throws Saturday, Sunday in Miami. We'll know the answer on this probably by, I don't know, the conclusion of tomorrow's game would be my guess. And then he goes on to say, this is Lucy pulling the football away, isn't it, Carlos? He's saying he's getting excited with his team again. I think he should. Like, I really think you should, Padres fans. And it's not to say let's get our hopes so high where it's going to get ripped out from underneath us, but they're earning everything that they're doing is basically they're earning our fandom right now, aren't they? Based on their play. I mean, they've played as well as any team in baseball since the break. They have a 12-3 record since the break. It's the best in baseball. And yeah, they slipped up going into the All-Star break, but remember, before it, they went 12-3. They've had two 12-3 stretches over a 38 game period, 37 game period. I mean, they're playing some of the best baseball in the majors, not just over the last 15 games, but really going back to that initial 12-3 stretch. So I don't know what it is. I'm doing the show live. What are they in their last 35, 25-10 or better? I mean, it's something like that. They're really in that neighborhood. They're playing as well as anyone in the National League, arguably one of the better teams in baseball right now. Nobody's outplayed them in the second half at 12-3, and everything is in front of them right now. I mean, truly everything, whether it's the NL West, whether it's the top wild card spot, whether it's getting healthier with someone like Joe Musgrove, hopefully Fernando Tatis Jr. We'll wait on you, Darvish, but just the additions they made at the trade deadline. It's encouraging, is what it is. It's exciting, and this is why we watch. This is why we consume. This is the whole point of it all, right? And this is why you can stomach. It just makes a 2023 disappointment that makes 2024 that much sweeter, because I don't know if we necessarily expected this type of play in 2024. I think we were hopeful and optimistic, but you trade away Juan Soto in the offseason, and you've got a much better team as we sit here today than you had a year ago. So credit to AJ Preller, credit to Mike Schilt, credit to this team, credit to Padres fans, because San Diego's playing like one of the better teams in baseball right now. Hopefully they're not peaking too soon. I don't know if I truly even believe in that as a possibility. I just think they're playing well. And the truth is, it's not early anymore. It's late, right? I mean, we're pushing the middle of August. The Padres have fewer than 50 games to play in the season. So it's not early, and it's not the middle of the year. It's basically pushing the final quarter of the year. We're getting there. We're not yet there, but we're pushing the final quarter of the year. So I appreciate you, Carlos. Really do, man. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for your support. Seriously, we really do appreciate you, man. Thank you for all the super chats. Let's get to this one from Zach. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate you. He says, for John, doing the solo show or the show solo, clap emoji, hashtag respect. Listen, you guys know me. It's a labor of love. I'm here for Padres fans, whether it's good or bad. If they lose this game 6-0 tonight, I'm right here. You guys know that. I would have been ripping the umpires either way. I would have talked people off the ledge tonight if they lost 6-0 like I did on Friday night, the last wrap-up show. We should touch on that. I hate to say I told you so, but there was a lot of overreaction on Friday night. I said that the story hasn't been told on this Rockies series. Let's see if they win the series. You can't ask them to sweep every bad team. That's not realistic. They'll get some in there because they're playing so well. I mean, they're capable of sweeping bad teams. They're capable of sweeping good teams. But you can't say that when you win a series, it wasn't a good series. That's just kind of unbaseball. That's against baseball etiquette is what I would say. Maybe against everyone but the White Sox. You're going to have to find a way to sweep the White Sox based on the way that they played. And by the way, congratulations. Your 21-game losing streak is over on the South Side. But listen, 2 out of 3 and a 4-1 homestand and a 12-3 start to the second half is unbelievably impressive is what it is. So Friday night is a blip. Tonight, thankfully, they won. Even if they didn't, I would tell you they're still in good standing and they're still in good shape. But they win tonight. We're not going to see Paul Skeens this series, thankfully. And we'll see if the Padres can earn another series win on their way to Miami. I said today on John and Jim, it's like, Pittsburgh's had a good year. They've exceeded expectations. They're a 500 team. Miami, the wheels have fallen off. They've traded everyone. I mean, without seeing Paul Skeens here, you're going to be favored in all these games. I don't know how many of them, maybe all 6, 5 of the 6. It's very realistic to win a couple of series here. And again, I don't think it's asking for the world to win a couple of series, and then maybe you stumble into 3 straight in Miami or 3 straight in Pittsburgh. And you have a chance to do something to the Pirates that you did to the Nationals earlier this year, which is completely bury them, take all hope away from them, and punt them out of the wild card conversation and prevent them from getting anywhere near you over the final 7 weeks of the regular season. And today is a step in that process. Now, there's still a lot of baseball between these two teams, 5 games in the next week and a half. Pirates could win 4 of the next 5, and that changes the conversation. Or the Padres could win 4 of the next 5, and then the Pirates are dead and gone in that wild card discussion and in the standings compared to San Diego specifically. But Zach, I appreciate you, man. That is very kind of you to say. We're just getting started. There's going to be a lot of people here tonight. This is super cool solo edition of the wrap-up show. Give Jim a hard time. Let's give Jim some FOMO. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. First of all, if you're not following me right now on X, you should be, or on Instagram at John Schaefer, JONSCHAEFFER. So please follow me over there as well, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Twitter. You want more Padres content, I have it for you there. Let's tag Jim Russell right now on X and give him the biggest FOMO ever. Like, how could you miss this show? This game was incredible. You missed like the craziest night, and there was this rain delay, all for a week in the Alps with Aaron. Like, come on, man. So give Jim a hard time at Jim Russell SD. Follow me on X and on Instagram at John Schaefer. Appreciate that. JONSCHAEFFER. And again, we're trying to get to 6,700 subscribers here tonight. We're at 6666, which I don't think is good karma. So someone subscribe right now because we're at 6666 on our way to 6,700 tonight with your help. Carlos, back to you. Thank you, man. Says, didn't love putting Estrada in the 9th. He pitched great. Would have saved that arm for tomorrow. If Cease doesn't pitch Thursday, then now I'm pissed. You're hilarious. Here's the one thing I would say about using Estrada in the 9th inning. I think it's a better option than Suarez because you got to look at where they were in this game. I mean, they had used a number of relievers, obviously, because of the situation that played out with the rain. But by the time you get to the 9th inning, and remember, they head to the 9th inning with a 4-0 lead. It wasn't 6-0 when the 9th inning started. So you're getting someone up, and it's going to be Estrada or Suarez. But he was the 6th pitcher of the game. And if you're not using Suarez, who else do you really have available to you in that spot? You probably have one other reliever basically available to you in that spot. So I don't mind it because I know the inning started at 4-0 and he was warming up. So essentially, he was already kind of hot. So why not use him in that spot? Plus, he could probably use a bounce back. He's had some blips here in the second half of the season, and all is well that ends well. And I think that's how it pans out. Here's the thing. If you're going to use 7 pitchers or 6 pitchers in a win and not use Robert Suarez, I'll take it. Considering everything. I mean, this is kind of the Brian Hoeing game, truthfully, because Cease goes an inning, not his fault that it rained, and then the grounds crew botched everything. And, he struck out a couple. Pirates, by the way, in this game threatened. They hit a ball off the top of the right field wall in the first inning. It should have gone. It would have left 24 ballparks. It was off the very top of the wall. Then later, there was a fly ball after the rain delay to straightaway center field. Merrill kind of made a small leaping catch right in front of the center field wall. That nearly left the yard. They had some base runners. They didn't have a million hits in this game, but they had some base runners. They loaded the bases at one point. Tanner Scott came on, got out of that spot. His terrific season between the Marlins and Padres continues. So, yeah, in the end, it looks like a walk in the park 6-0 win, but it wasn't necessarily that. Padres had one of those like too much Morton power friendship innings that we were joking about actually earlier today on social media. And then from there, it was just effective relief pitching from the Padres. But, it wasn't a complete laugher, truthfully, if you watched all 9 innings of this game over the course of about 5.5 or 6 hours. I'm just telling you my opinion, Carlos, on that because I heard Schilt say it was unlikely. So that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean it's a 0% chance. I would just be surprised. Normally, in situations like this, guys get more than a day between outings because he's a starting pitcher. So that's what would make it somewhat unique if he bounced back with only 1 day between starts, even if it was only 14 pitches. We'll see. Not impossible, but me personally, and based on what Mike Schilt said here post-game, I would be surprised. Darapot, appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Darapot saying, who knew Xander's return would solidify our offense? I mean, not just that, would help this team go on maybe their best run of the year. I think since Xander has returned, don't quote me on it, they are 13-5, something like that. Because he returned for Atlanta. Was that a 3-game series or a 4-game series? If it was a 3-game series, they're 13-5. If it was a 4-game series, I think they're 14-5, something like that. And not just that, Bogarts, yeah, 1 for 5 tonight, but I think we told you on John and Jim, maybe on Monday in the off day, he was hitting 425 in the 19 games since he returned. So whatever it is, 19 or 20 games now since he's returned, or something like, whatever they are, 14-6 or 15-5, somewhere in that range. He's hit 400 over that stretch, and he has helped solidify this offense. And he's only added to a potent group, truthfully, because Profar has been Profar and Solano's been Solano. And, you win a game 6-0. Manny Machado goes 0 for 5 in it. He's been much better, obviously, since he called himself out in Philadelphia. And they're just getting contributions and they're just getting production and they find ways, which is the best thing you can say about a team. It's not like they've got like this Aaron Judge, guy that's going to hit 60 home runs and that completely carries them. And as he goes, they go. We say that sometimes with Machado. It's not necessarily the case. It's like a different player every night. Solano, Profar, Machado, Merrill, and so on and so forth. Let's get to this from Carlos. Thank you, man. He says, Tyler Wade over HSK right now. We need to sweep these Pirates. They looked horrible today, and no O'Neal Cruz, so no excuses. Every game counts. Now, I'm with you, man. I mean, this is an opportunity to maybe take advantage. You're 62-52. You can bury the Pirates right now. Michael King tomorrow, gives you a very good chance. Marco Gonzalez has been a very good left-handed pitcher for Pittsburgh this year, although it's only been in something like 30-something innings. So, yeah, I mean, you'll take your chances, and then we'll see about TBD for the Padres on Thursday. But I don't know if they need to sweep them. They need to win the series. I think they've won 80% of the series they've played this year, and they've won game 1. So hopefully that trend continues. That wasn't the trend a year ago. Hopefully that trend continues here this season. I think 2 out of 3 are better, and you feel good. Obviously, if you can sweep them, then you're rolling, completely rolling, and you are approaching in the rearview mirror of the LA Dodgers, who right now are now trailing 6-2 in the bottom of the 9th inning. So the Padres 3 outs away from potentially moving to within 4 games of first place in the NL West. Think about that. I mean, as late as, what is it, August 7th tomorrow, and the Padres could be within 4 games of first place. Whoever would have envisioned that when the Padres traded Juan Soto and the Dodgers had their flurry in the offseason of Ohtani and Yamamoto and Teoscar Hernandez and whatever hell else they did over the course of the winter. I mean, who would have ever possibly envisioned that? And it's why we play the games. It's just why you play the games. That's why we love this. And that's why sometimes you think you have it figured out and then the unpredictable happens. And that's a little bit like what's happening right now in the NL West, where the Padres are surging and getting closer. Again, not catching the Dodgers, but getting closer in the NL West. Enzo, thank you. I appreciate you doing this for me. So in the last 35 games, look at that. I mean, that's basically 667. 667 would be 24-12. So, 650, something like that. 23-12 is among the better 35-game stretches they've put together. Truthfully, probably in the history of the franchise. They've had a few. I mean, first half of 2021, first half 2022, and a nice stretch in 2020, truthfully as well, probably over 30 games in that shortened season. And then, you go back to like the late 90s, and they had stretches like that, or even better, obviously, 96, 98. But this isn't an every season occurrence for a team that has struggled to maintain consistency. And that includes even when they were really good. In 2022, they did struggle to maintain consistency after a fast start. They were a 500 team for 4 months. And then they did play very well in the postseason, and it was a thrill to watch what they did against the Mets and the Dodgers and winning game 2 against the Phillies. And, that was an exciting time, and that was a great time. But it wasn't like it was a straight line all year and they cruised to 97 wins. 89 wins, a lot of it based on what they did the first 50 games of the season, kind of holding on for dear life in the final 100 games of the season. This team's a little bit different, riding that roller coaster for the first half of the year and now beginning to kind of take off and ascend. And those 35 games are basically how they've gotten to this point of 10 games over 500. Look at it. 35 games ago, the Padres were under 500. And right now they're 10 games over 500 and hopefully continue to trend in the right direction. The schedule has lightened up, with Colorado still looming, and you still have the Tigers and the White Sox and teams that are falling off here in the second half. You don't have anything crazy out there on your schedule. It's not like you got to play, the Dodgers 7 of your last 10. Not that the Dodgers are playing great baseball, or like Phillies, Dodgers, Dodgers, Phillies, Dodgers over a 10-game stretch. That's not to come in the second half of the year. Doesn't mean they're going to take advantage of it all, but it does mean that they're probably in a more favorable position than they've been in, I think in a regular season in a while. Again, 2022, they were just kind of trying to get to the finish line and secure a wild card spot. I think there were a couple of tenuous moments in September that season. I think Bob Melvin, a couple of closed door meetings in that 2022 September. So it just feels different. Doesn't mean we get the result we all want. Doesn't mean they go on a postseason run. Doesn't even mean right now they make the postseason. But how could you not like the trend lines if you're a Padres fan? All right, there are a ton of supers to get to. I do appreciate it. We're going to get back to the super chats in a moment. I do want to remind you about our title sponsor. We can't do this without everyone here live or on replay and without our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. He has been such an important part of this channel. He just has been. We started this channel, and a number of you were here when we started it 3 years ago. Whether this is your first time here or you've been with us for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or even 5 seasons, going back to the radio with the wrap-up show, we appreciate you. And we can't do it without our title sponsor. He helped us get the channel off the ground. He's been with us for 36 consecutive months, something like that, on YouTube. If you have an insurance need, trust me, he's your guy. Auto, home, renter's life. I've got earthquake. I've got homeowners. I have life through Mark Nimitz, and you can as well. Switch your insurance. He's going to save you $750 or more. If you ever need him, he's there for you. Trust me. I had to file a claim in 2022. We were out of our place for 2 weeks. He took care of everything. He's going to check in on you. That's what separates him. His service and communication is top-notch in the industry. If you want free quotes, click the link in the description down below, or just call Mark. He'll talk to you about the Padres. He will save you money on your insurance. So if you support the channel, please support a native San Diegan, a lifelong Padres fan. And again, without Mark, we're not able to have the success we've had here on the wrap-up show. So thank you, Mark Nimitz, the title sponsor of the wrap-up show. When you contact him, let him know John and Jim sent you. All right, let's get back to these super chats, guys. Let's get to 6,700 subscribers. With your help, we're about 30 away. So please subscribe if you are here, the home of real Padres talk. Let me get this thing back. Dude, Jim would kill me. Okay, here we go. Custom layout 5. I have to remember how to do this without Jim. The one thing Jim is really good at that I'm not good at, as we've talked about a lot, is technology. I have no freaking clue what I'm doing. And if you listened or watched John and Jim to start the show today, that's just additional evidence. All right, Jared, appreciate you, man. Your super chat and your membership, guys. If you want to contribute, if you want to make sure I get your comment, click the $ below the chat box. I'm getting to all of them, every single one of them here tonight. He says, glad to have a guy like Brian Hoeing who can spot start or be a swing man. Looked really good. He was awesome. He really was effective here tonight, gave him the length that you're hoping for, and he's been that guy. Like in that trade, everyone's like, Tanner Scott, right? Tanner Scott. And then Hoeing actually might have filled a more valuable role. Why? Because the Padres had high leverage back-end relievers. What they didn't have was the fifth starter or that yo-yo man, that spot starter. But then they add Martin Perez. They add Hoeing. Hopefully now they're adding Musgrove. We'll see about you, Darvish. You just want options in your rotation. You just want options when you need someone to go 3, 4, 5 innings. And now they have a few of those. Perez, Hoeing, Musgrove. Obviously, Musgrove's not your 5. If he comes back healthy, you're slotting Vasquez back. And Musgrove's going to move up in that rotation. But it's good to have a guy like Brian Hoeing. I'm with you. It just is. Like it was good to have a guy like Nick Martinez over the years. It's just one of those pieces that, not to say it's fully invaluable, but like when you don't have it, you really feel it. Like if you didn't have a guy that was capable of doing that here tonight, you'd say, man, it would be nice if they had someone that could eat up 3 or 4 innings in a situation like this or fill that role that Nick Martinez filled for a couple of years for the Padres. So Brian Hoeing is going to be asked to do multiple things. He's going to start games, I bet. He's going to throw 3 innings in relief. We'll have shorter stints in the bullpen as well. And he's going to have to do multiple things effectively. And so far, so good for one of the newest acquisitions. Let's see here. Carlos, appreciate you, my friend. He says he never roots for injuries, but Gratterall today equals karma. I don't even know what happened. I have no idea what happened with Bruce Dark Gratterall. Limps off the field in his debut. Wow. That's amazing. With a leg. Wow. That is unbelievable. When you consider his history with the Padres, I understand what you're saying. I don't root for injuries either, but that is kind of, that's interesting. That is interesting. Appreciate you bringing it to my attention. They've gone final, by the way, at Dodger Stadium, and the Padres have moved to within 4 games of first place. How about that? It's not getting easier for the Dodgers, right? They'll get the Phillies again tomorrow. So all of a sudden, and it does feel like all of a sudden, because 6 weeks ago, the Padres were 10 games out. And 6 weeks later, that 23-12 stretch, and the Dodgers being relatively pedestrian here in the second half, 4 games separate the Padres from the Dodgers in the NL West. And why not? Why not San Diego? As we've said before, I do not think it's fool's gold. I do not think it's an impossibility. Nobody would guarantee it. But why it feels different is I don't think this thing gets back up to, like it always does. Like, I don't think at the end of the year we're going to look up and say, wow, Dodgers won the division by 15 games. I just don't. I think the Padres can absolutely hang in this thing. And not just in August. I think they're going to do it from now until the finish line. I think they'll hang in it. I don't know who's going to win it. Dodgers are always capable of a 9-1 stretch or better. We've seen it routinely. It typically happens every single year. They did it earlier this year. When they went in the role, they're banged up. So have the Padres in terms of their health. So if not now, then when? Kyle Glaser, Baseball America, basically telling us that on John and Jim yesterday, that he likes the Padres' chances because the Dodgers have not been crisp. They've been fighting off injuries, and this is a time for the Padres to potentially pounce and take advantage of that situation. So thank you, Carlos. Chucky D, appreciate your super chat. Guys, if you're here, subscribe. And if you're here, thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. Chucky D saying, watch Musgrove stream Sunday. Yes, I'm a Pods nerd. Best stuff he has had all year. Just saying. I know he was effective. I also know it's a rehab start. I'm somewhat surprised and I guess encouraged, Chucky D, to your point, that the Padres will essentially shortcut's not the right word, but I think they might be skipping a part of the process. It's like if you're going up a ladder and you skip a rung. Typically 43 pitches would not be your final rehab outing on your way back to the major leagues as a starter. They would typically stretch you out to something like 60, mid 50s. Then when you get up, you could throw, mid 60s to mid 70s, and you could give a team maybe 4 or 5 innings. 43, you're asking maybe for a little bit of trouble if Musgrove pitches this weekend. Why? Because what if he has a 25 pitch inning? And what if he's on a 60 pitch limit, and then all of a sudden he's only able to give you 3 innings? But then again, you got the luxury of this bullpen, and you can't completely tax this bullpen every single night, like 8 innings tonight because of the Pirates grounds crew and these umpires. We don't even know about Thursday, and then Musgrove potentially this weekend. I think you're asking a lot potentially of the bullpen, but then again, maybe Musgrove, to Chucky D's point, is back healthy and effective, and on 65 pitches he can give you 4 or 5 innings. And if that's the case, you'll gladly take it. So I'm excited. I'm optimistic. I'm curious. I'm not holding my breath yet on Musgrove. I'm not counting on Joe Musgrove necessarily over the final 7+ weeks of the regular season, but I'm hopeful. If you somehow tell me that the Padres are going to get, like, I don't know, 2022 Joe Musgrove, are you kidding me? And you already are where you are. And if you tell me you're going to get Fernando Tatis Jr. back at some point, and he was an all-star this year, and has obviously been a key offensive contributor, like, you got even a higher ceiling, and the ceiling is already pretty high based on what we've seen over the last 35 games. Thank you so much, Chucky D, and thank you so much, Murray, for bringing this to my attention. Obviously, I watched this thing live, watched the entire game, and when you're doing it solo, your mind's going everywhere. I'm so glad you mentioned this in the super chat, because I would have kicked myself if I didn't get to this. The play that Manny Machado made in the 8th inning, never take something like that for granted, Padres fans. Never do it. Because we've seen it, obviously, over the years of Machado in a Padres uniform. This is one of his better plays, and he's made some phenomenal plays. But I kid you not, this has to be one of his top 10, 12 plays he's made as a Padre. The fact that he made it look so simple and routine is the most impressive part of it. He fields back a third all the time, but to do it from deep third in foul territory and make the throw he made on a line to get Connor Joe was spectacular. Was just spectacular, and tells you all you need to know about Manny Machado's defensive ability. He's actually, I think, an underrated defender, considering the Gold Gloves that he has failed to be recognized for in his career because of Nolan Arenado. Manny Machado makes some of the best plays you're ever going to see in the field, whether it's charging and barehanding, deep third in foul territory, laying out. Remember some of the stuff? Remember back in the shift era when they were using him in like shallow right? He was making plays like on the warning track in right field. The guy's a unicorn defender. Now, baseball's got a lot of really good defensive players. Nolan Arenado has been one of them in his career. Don't take Manny Machado for granted in the field. Everything that he's been through with the elbow and the injuries and DHing late last year and the struggles he's gone through at the plate at times here in 2024. Never take a play like that for granted, because 29 teams, 28 teams are never seeing something like that. You could go a decade between plays like that. And Manny Machado's been able to make that play, not routinely, but he's made that play throughout the course of his career as a Padre. Carlos says that he likes this team more than the 2023 team. I think everyone does. I think I do. He says great teams have profars and Solanos, cheap vets, superstars, rookies producing, and shrunk bullpens. Dangerous in October. I think they're set up for it. That's what I've been saying. And thank you, Carlos. I agree with you. I think they're set up for October. Now, we were saying you got to get there, but they're doing the work to get there. So, like, yeah, they got to get there. They're proving their mettle. They are getting there. We're watching them get there. And in the process, we're watching them continually come together. And we're watching kind of how they can beat you. Good starting pitching, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Matt Waldron. Outstanding, bullpen, right? We've talked about it at length, and especially the additions they made here at the trade deadline. The 4-run innings that they stumble into seemingly every other day, right? The fact that they've got, there's enough power in there. This isn't some power-laden lineup, but you look at some of the offensive indicators and stats, and there's definitely enough power in there. And then if you were to add a Tatis, you got all the power you need. So they can beat you multiple ways. It is a cohesive group, unlike 2023. They deal with adversity. They overcome deficits. They win home or road right now. They're chasing down the Dodgers in the NOS. They're just a team that believes. Like, you add it all up. Mike Schill is a first-year manager here, right? And it's just working. Things are aligning. Doesn't mean it's going to align for the next 50 games or in October. Things are weird in October. I mean, right? You can win a World Series, or you can be out in 2 games, right? So we don't know what's going to happen in the future, is my point. But I do like the way it's aligning. I do like the way they're set up. And I do like their chances, A, to get there, and B, if they do get there, how they're set up. I really do. I'm with you, Carlos. I think it's spot on. I think it's a really good point. Carson, appreciate you, man. He says, you think bullpens are overrated or underrated? I don't know if there's anyone that thinks bullpens are overrated. How can a bullpen be overrated? The only overrated bullpens in baseball are relievers on bad teams. Like, I don't want a dominant 1.13 ERA closer on a team that's 41-71. But on good teams, bullpens are critically important. The difference between good teams and bad teams can be a bullpen. The difference between good teams and great teams can be a bullpen. So I think if you're saying overrated or underrated, I'd say vastly underrated, and even more so in a postseason where you turn over a game to your bullpen in like a 4th or 5th inning, and you can win by asking relievers to do more. You ask your high leverage relievers to potentially get a 4th out or a 5th out or 2 innings, where they normally go 1 inning or 3 outs, and you can steal games and steal series by doing it. So that's the Preller philosophy here. It's like there's multiple ways to win. And clearly, I think they probably needed starting pitching at the deadline, but the cost was too significant, too high. So they elected to build arguably the best bullpen in baseball, and we'll see if it pays off or not. But I absolutely, if I was given the choice of overrated or underrated, I would always say underrated when it comes to the importance of bullpen, because you just never know when you're going to need them. And you can never have too many good arms coming out of your bullpen. You just can't. And it's going to be critically important, would be my guess, for the Padres at some point in October for San Diego. All right. I do want to remind our viewers about our partner here on the Wrap Up Show. I'm going to get back to all the super chats. Please subscribe if you're here. We're kind of just getting started. Got as much time as you guys have. So settle in, subscribe, smash the like button. We need to get to 400 likes here tonight. We need to get to 6,700 subscribers here tonight as the Padres move to 10 games over 500. They've got the wild card lead in the National League. They pulled it within 4 games of first place in the NL West. And you can support the Padres with a MOVA Globe. Our friends at MOVA Globes, based right here in San Diego, have officially licensed Major League Baseball globes, including this Padres globe. It spins based on artificial or natural light. They also have these Earth map globes and all the planets as well. Cool company, based in San Diego. Technology is phenomenal. Magnets are in here. It works with like how the Earth spins. I don't fully understand it, but they're incredible. They're great keepsakes, great desk items. Your family's going to love them. Awesome for a home office, for a work office. And if you use promo code PWS10, that's PWS10, Padres Wrap-Up Show, PWS10, you're getting 10% off, okay? They have all 30 Major League teams, technology was invented right here, Cardiff by the Sea in San Diego. Padres globes are terrific. Support the team. Maybe you love the Padres. Your brother-in-law likes the Brewers. Those are available for you as well. All 30 teams officially licensed. They've got the planets. They've got so much more for you. Check them out by clicking the link in the description down below. Pick up an officially licensed Major League Baseball globe from Mova Globes. And remember to use promo code PWS10. That is promo code, again, PWS10. Really, really cool items. You're going to love them. Your family's going to love them. Great gift ideas for the baseball fan in your life. All right, let's get back to it, guys. Oh my, a lot to react to, a lot to get to. Jared, appreciate you, my friend. He says, with the super chat, Padres have this season what the Dodgers usually have, elite pitching and a ton of depth. Now, I would say this. I think the Dodgers have always had depth. The Dodgers oftentimes in regular seasons have had very good starting pitching. Now, the one thing that the Dodgers haven't had in recent years is a deep rotation come playoff time, right? We stacked up rotations in 2022. I thought the Padres had as good of a rotation as the Dodgers in that moment in real time. It proved out to be accurate. 2023 against the Diamondbacks, again, starting pitching kind of did them in. Yeah, I know they did nothing offensively. It was a 3-game series. They were swept. But where I feel like the Padres may differ from some of these recent Dodger teams is if they can keep these top 3 in this rotation healthy, Cease, King, Waldron, you kind of have the starting pitching you need. Yeah, you want a 4 starting pitcher. I think you'll need that potentially for a 5-game or 7-game series. We can discuss that as we go along. Maybe that's Musgrove, terrific. Maybe that's Darvish, terrific. Maybe that's Vasquez, who knows? But you're mostly there with your top 3 starters. And I don't know if the Dodgers have had 3 starters the last 2 postseasons that they're counting on that have been as effective as the 3 starters the Padres have right now, how effective they are, if that makes sense. Led by Dylan Cease, who's as good as anyone in baseball right now, right? He's been unhittable, truly, with the no-hitter in his last 5 starts, not including today. He's got like a 1 ERA, a last no-hit. So, again, it's August. It's not October, but I like the way it stacks up with the top of this rotation, with the bullpen, with the peskiness of the lineup. They just seemingly come through when they need to come through. They'll piecemeal together a 4-run inning. You don't worry about it. Squirrels in the 5th inning. Like the Padres are scoring at some point. They're going to have a multiple run inning. I don't know what the Pirates are going to do, but the Padres are going to score at some point in this game, multiple runs. And here's the other thing. If the Pirates would have scored first, let's say they hit a solo home run off Cease there in the 1st inning, that ball that was off the top of the wall, I still feel fine. Where a year ago, you'd be like, oh man, here we go. Are they going to show up coming out of a rain delay, down a run? They can't lose this game 1-0, right? That's never happening this year. Like that's not happening. They're not going down by a run and then rolling over and never getting even or ahead in a game. Like that's been the aberration this year. What's much more commonplace is they go down a run or 2 and they get even or ahead. They've done it routinely throughout 2024. And so I think a lot of people feel this way. This is a good conversation that we could have here tonight as well, that we've routinely had, as everyone knows, over the years. And that's the conversation about what matters, right? Let me take a sip of seltzer, if you don't mind. By the way, join us again tomorrow on John and Jim, beginning at 3 p.m. We've got a YouTube channel. Search for John and Jim 760. So would appreciate it if you hung out with us. We've got Padres talk for you weekdays from 3 to 6, San Diego Sports 760, iHeartRadio app, and John and Jim on YouTube. He says the wild card is cute and all, but I want the division now, with the kind of LMAO emoji. I completely understand it. When you haven't won a division, as long as the Padres haven't won a division, when this thing has been dominated by the Dodgers. I know the Giants popped up one year with 107 wins, but the Dodgers beat them in the postseason that year. I mean, this thing for a decade and a half has been dominated by one team. I completely understand it. Completely. I just always want to have the caveat of, you can accomplish all your goals by making the postseason no matter how you do it. It's just what I want to say. Not to say I don't want to win the division. I just don't want to put all my eggs in that basket where if they finish a game short, we don't have to be all disappointed by it, because they could finish a game short and win the World Series, or they could finish a game better than the Dodgers and bow out in the divisional series. Truth be told, and I've talked about this a little bit too, I find it unlikely now, but you could even win a division and still be in the wild card round, because only 2 division winners are wrapping up buys Philly is going to be one of them. Milwaukee right now is a very similar record to San Diego. So it's not a guarantee or an assurance that if you win the division that you get a bye. I think it's likely. Also, the thing about a bye is you take a week off. And is that truly an advantage? You're taking on a team that won a series and you're coming off a 6-day layoff. You can line up your rotation. You can get guys healthy, but is it truly an advantage? And let's be honest, we would all be freaking out about that 6-day layoff if the Padres did, in fact, secure the NL West and secured one of those two buys. So my point is, don't put it all in one basket. Everyone wants to win as many games as possible. Everyone wants the division. I'm on board with that 1,000%. But the end-all, be-all goal for me is get to a World Series and win one, and I don't care how they get there, right? Like once you're in the dance, you're in the dance. NCAA tournament, MLB bracket now, NBA, NHL, right? You'd rather be the NBA 2 seed in the East and get to the NBA Finals than the 1 seed in the East that loses in the conference finals. So that's my long-winded way of saying division would be great, but it's all great if you can make a run in the postseason. Carlos, appreciate you. He says, we'll say it again. Jesse Agler's a great commentator, but his high-pitched voice stresses me out. Gonna go. Need more originality. Miss Ted Leitner. Listen, I will not. I think I've been very friendly. I think professionally. I don't know Jesse, unbelievably well. I'm a fan of Jesse's. I think he does great work as someone that has had the same trade as Jesse for his career, spending 15 years calling games in the minor leagues, now calling San Diego State games. I understand that you can't please everyone. It's subjective. It's hard, first of all. And where Jesse gets a lot of credit is he makes it seem not hard, easier said than done. And that's a credit to him and his abilities. But it's a subjective thing. TV, radio. Some people love Ted. I love Ted, right? I've worked with Ted for 7 years on Aztec games. Some people are going to love Jesse. Other people are going to love Don. Some people love Mud. Some people love Tony Gwynn Jr. It's subjective. It's subjective. And it's hard. So everyone's entitled to their opinion. So I respect it, Carlos. But again, as someone that has spent a good bulk of their career calling games, it's an interesting profession, is what I would say. It's an interesting profession, and I give Jesse a lot of credit. I think he's very good. I know he's very good. I don't think he's very good. I know he's very good. And so thank you. Yep, we've talked about this. Dodgers losing tonight to the Phillies at Dodger Stadium 6-2, allowing the Padres to pull closer in the NL West within 4 games. Absolutely in striking distance right now in the NL West. This is a great question, Carson. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. He says, has your opinion on Melvin changed after this year? I think Jim was more, and I'll let Jim speak for himself when he gets back from Switzerland and Italy next week. But I think Jim has been more, I hate to put it this way, but I'll say it anyway. And he would rip me if he was here if I said this, but I think he's more of the apologist for Melvin than I ever was, right? You guys have been here. A number of you have been here on the wrap-up show. I was critical of Bob Melvin. I gave him credit when it was due. I think he deserves credit for getting that team to the NLCS in 2022. I really do. And Schultz got to do that at some point as well to be considered, a really valuable, irreplaceable manager potentially for this organization. So I gave him credit in 2022. I was also critical based on his bullpen usage throughout the 2022 postseason. I was very critical of a lot of decisions he made throughout the course of 2023. I think he's a good manager. I think oftentimes we put too much stock in the value of managers. I think sometimes it just clicks and the manager gets credit. I think sometimes it doesn't work out and the manager gets too much blame. I'm crediting Schilt a lot this year. It is working. That's a credit to him. It wasn't working a year ago. That's a knock on Bob Melvin. At the end of the day, I can't tell you, again, we talk about subjectivity with broadcasters. There's subjectivity with managers. A lot of it has to do with what the front office gives them. A lot of it is Monday morning quarterbacking. At the end of the day, Bob Melvin and Mike Schilt might be comparable managers. Both have had successes. Both have had failures. Both have had highs and lows. Neither have, managed the World Series. So my opinion hasn't necessarily changed. I thought he was good enough. I think flawed in certain areas, but good enough. And I think Mike Schilt is absolutely good enough and probably truthfully flawed in certain areas as well. But the way he's managed this team on field and the strings he's pulled and pulling right now, I'm giving Mike Schilt credit, just like I gave Bob Melvin credit in 2022. Moises says, give Crony his props, stretching and scooping balls. Yeah, absolutely. That's fair. I mean, no doubt. I think he's been a serviceable, beyond serviceable first baseman. Defensively, I think he's had obviously his moments offensively throughout the course of this year as well. He's being paid to perform. When they gave him that 7-year deal, I think he has performed by and large here in 2024, not necessarily in 2023. So yeah, no doubt about it. I got no problem doing that. I'm happy to do it. And then Mauricio, who says, who gets the first statue if this team wins it all? I don't even want to go down that path, Mauricio. I really don't. I really don't even want to go down that path. Let's go down that path together. Padres fans, over the course of the next 3 months, August, September, October, I'd love to go down that path with Padres fans all October long. I'd love to be having those conversations in mid-October, late October, talking about the Padres in a fall classic or another championship series. I would love to do it. We've got plenty of time to have those conversations. And the thing about a question like that is we don't know what's going to happen. That's the amazing thing. We don't know if they ever do make that magical run. We don't know how they make it. Who defines that run? Is it Robert Suarez? Is it, you don't know offensively because this team's so capable. Is it Donovan Solano? Is it Manny Machado that comes up with a big hit in a big moment in that hypothetical? So I can't go down that path yet, although I am willing to go down the path of get excited, Padres fans. Like, I've moved from cautiously optimistic to just optimistic. How can you not be optimistic about this team? Not that they're doing it against all odds, but they're just doing it. And everything that's thrown at them, 9-game road trip, go 7-2. Come home for the Dodgers, sweep them. Go back in the road, deal with a 3-hour rain delay, lose Dylan Cease because of the stupidity of the grounds crew and the umpiring crew, win the game anyway. Deploy your bullpen and get 8 scoreless innings with 11 strikeouts. It's just like everything is working, right? Everything is working. And I just want to watch that continue to come to fruition over these late summer months, right? Dog days into September, into October. Let's hope, let's cross our fingers that just continues. It's not going to be every day. I've been saying this routinely. They're not going to sweep every bad team. They're not going to win every series. And there'll likely be another 2-game losing streak. There may be another 3-game losing streak. We've seen them have 4 5-game losing streaks. But can they avoid another real dip? Can they stay away from that 5-game losing streak? I think it's definitely possible. Can they continue playing this type of baseball, 23-12 to close? That's probably asking a lot, but can they continue to stretch this from 10 over 500 to 15 plus? I mean, it's absolutely within the realm of possibility. I don't know what they're pacing to win right now, but probably looking at something like 88, 89 games, right? At this point in the season with their overall winning percentage and where they could get. So, and I wouldn't be shocked if they even surpass that based on how they're playing. I mean, are there still questions? Yeah. What's the deal with Tatis? When's he returning? What's the timetable? How's he going to impact this team when he returns? What about Joe Musgrove, Yu Darvish? Yeah, there's questions. Absolutely. Is Xander Bogaerts going to keep this up? Is Manny Machado going to be the player they need him to be in the second half of the year? But even with all the questions, they've answered the bell seemingly everywhere. And we'll see if they can continue to do this or do that on the 6-game road trip. I think that's a great point, Jared, in general. I don't think it really has anything to do with them necessarily winning a World Series. I just think Peter Seidler's role in the arc of the franchise's history is so significant that ultimately he will be defined by a statue, and I think it's warranted because he put him back in the map against, money be damned, right? A desire to put this team at the top of the sport, even though the sport is stacked against quote unquote small market like San Diego. And he kind of took that head on and slapped it directly in its face. So Peter Seidler has meant a lot, obviously, to a lot of people, a lot of Padres fans, the organization in general. His untimely passing, is so unfortunate. What would he be thinking about a team like this? He would think the sky's the limit and maybe that this is the one. And so you hate to know that he's missed out on what has proved to be a really phenomenal team and a fun summer. And that has the makings of a team that hopefully will be playing in October here in 2024. But I think it's a very good point, Jared, and I appreciate you bringing it up. We can continue the conversation, guys, if you want. I got time. We probably have 15 or 20 minutes if you guys want to continue to hang out. I do want to remind you, where is this? I thought I uploaded. What is this? Maybe not. Stand by. I don't know how Jim works with me. Look at this image. I'm such an idiot. Underdog Fantasy, if you use promo code PODSRAB, take advantage of these NFL Week 1 discounts going on right now. Obviously, the NFL is still weeks away, But if you go to Underdog Fantasy, scan that QR code. It's on the screen. You see it over there. My finger's pointing to it. Scan that QR code or click the link in the description down below. Use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. You'll get a free special pick plus a 50% deposit match. Think about that. 50% deposit match. You deposit $50, they'll give you 25. You deposit 100, they'll give you 50, so on and so forth, all the way up to $250 free dollars. And they'll give you these discounts on NFL Week 1 just to incentivize you. So you only need, like, look at that. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson, he throws for 184 yards week 1, you're a winner. CJ Stroud, 247 passing yards week 1, you're a winner, and so on and so forth. Jonathan Taylor, 60 rushing yards, you're a winner. Stephon Diggs. So take advantage of that right now. It's going on right now for our viewers if you use promo code PODSWRAP. Again, that's PODSWRAP. Here it is, PADSWRAP. Free special pick up to $250 for your first-time deposit. Take advantage, play along. Padres pick'em's going on right now. We play all the time. I think I had a $20 pick'em on in actually tonight. It might actually be for stuff going on over the course of the week. I had a $50 one hit with golf during the Olympics this week. Jim's hit on a couple of $400 and $500 wins this year at Underdog Fantasy. Play along. Couldn't be easier. Couldn't be more fun. Great for baseball fans. Great for NFL fans. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description down below. Remember to use promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. Again, promo code PODSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. What a night, guys. I mean, this basically played out over 6 hours from 3:40 Pacific to us doing a wrap-up show at 9:30, and that wasn't that far after the game came to an end. A couple of updates. Ha-Seong Kim, we were told it was a tricep. When I heard Mike Schill talk about a pregame, he said a trap, like he had a sore trap or tricep. We'll keep our eyes on it, I guess. It sounded like something that was day-to-day that would be managed as opposed to anything more than that. It's something to obviously keep an eye on. Again, they've got the infield flexibility that they can overcome it clearly, as we've talked about today with someone like Donovan Solano stepping in. Joe Musgrove, I think the quote from Mike Schill prior to today's game was, it's highly probable, or there's a high probability that he pitches this weekend. Now, has a wrench been thrown into that because of what happened here today? If you now move Dylan Cease back in the rotation, so to speak, because he only threw an inning today, does that bump Joe Musgrove back to when the Padres come home against the Pirates? I don't know the answer to that. I have no idea. Does that give him an opportunity to make another rehab start before coming back? I just don't know the answer to that. It's at least something that we should probably consider. But again, not bad problems. Like having Dylan Cease throw earlier, sooner rather than later, isn't a bad thing. Giving Joe Musgrove an additional day or two, I don't think is a bad thing. Giving Ha-Seong Kim a day or two when the team is playing well, I don't think is a bad thing. So again, these are the types of things that if things aren't going well, like if they were 3-12 since the break and the wheels were falling off and they were holding on for dear life and they'd fallen, 5 games out, 6 games out in the wild card, and Dylan Cease only goes an inning and you lose tonight because of the rain, it's like Murphy's Law. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. But they're like the opposite of that. It's like everything that can go right has gone right here over the last 35 games, where you're 23-12 and you're overcoming things. Like since Tatis has gone down, that might coincide with 23-12, truthfully, or something like that. That's unbelievable. And that's not a knock on Tatis. It's just a coincidence. I'll take my chances with Fernando Tatis Jr. over whomever else they're plugging into right field every single day of the week, all of them. But the truth is the truth. And it's teams that win games, not players, right? And the team has stepped up in the absence of Fernando Tatis Jr. and Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish. And the way the front office has found the right pieces, big and small, Peralta, Solano, right? Smaller in the grand scheme, but have played roles. Bigger, Arise, Cease, Scott, Adam, right? Obviously, the situation with Estrada, the way that played out. Like you're talking about 5, 6, 7 crucial Profar signing February 24th, 6, 7, 8 crucial pieces that are directly tied to the front office this season that could have gone either way. Profar wasn't necessarily going to be here. Donovan Solano wasn't necessarily going to be here. Like you add all this stuff up, and I give AJ Preller a lot of credit. We've been critical, and I think it's been fair at times of AJ Preller, his inability to round these rosters out, point his team towards a 90-win season, towards the top of the division. Not that it's easy in the NL West. And now when things are going well, we should be, praising AJ Preller for the team that he's put together, knowing that these things can change in a moment, that they haven't locked down anything, that they're still fighting to get into the postseason. But finally, you can kind of take that like deep breath, like, okay, no longer is it a tie for the last wild card or a half game out or a half game up. They're finally getting to a spot where there's a couple of games between themselves and being out of the postseason right now. Again, that's not everything. That can change over the course of a series. You lose 3, someone wins 3, and all of a sudden you're on the outside looking in. But I'm kind of looking more at who's in front of them as opposed to who's behind them right now. I don't know if anyone else is doing the same thing. Am I concerned about Arizona? Yeah, they played great. Atlanta has fallen off. Are they concerned? Yeah, absolutely. They've been one of the better teams in the National League this decade. The Mets surprisingly have put together a good season after that ridiculously slow start, kind of turning their season around with sweeping the Padres back at Citi Field a couple of months ago. But I'm thinking more about the Dodgers. I'm thinking more about the division. I'm thinking more about locking down the top wild card than I am about holding on for dear life, securing the third wild card, getting it on the final day of the regular season. I mean, maybe I'm just hopeful and optimistic, which goes back to some of the points I've made here tonight, that I'm just not cautiously optimistic anymore. I'm just optimistic. Let's see here. Ballpark Pretzel, I appreciate you. He asked the question, can we afford to give Arise a week off this road trip? I think the answer to that would be no. I mean, you need Luis Arise, right? So, I mean, nobody wants to see Luis Arise sit. That's not why he's here. He's obviously been banged up. He has sat at times against left-handed pitching. They're going to need Luis Arise. So, I mean, afford is an interesting way to look at it. I mean, could they play without Luis Arise for a week? Yeah. I mean, they played without Fernando Tatis Jr. They played without Manny Machado at times this year. They played without Xander Bogaerts. So, yeah, the answer is, could they? Yes, absolutely. Should they, or should anyone want them to? No. Because, we're all waiting for Arise's next 4-hit game. We know that he's capable of hitting, 320 over a 50-game stretch or better than that. We know he's been nicked up. We know at times he sat against left-handed pitching here in the second half of the year as well. And I think he's going to, again, I thought the addition of Luis Arise kind of put the Padres in a position where we could just say the offense is going to be legitimate all year long because the guy gets on base, and you added him to a lineup that was already producing as like a top 10 lineup in baseball. In that, order, it depends on the stat you want to reference, but all the indicators, slugging, on base, OPS, runs scored, like they've been that top 10-ish offense. And I think Arise only has helped that case, obviously. Now, can they get by without him? Yeah, they absolutely can. I think they can get by with a lot of any individual piece. I think they've proven they can get by without. I think when you start adding them all up, like if you didn't have Arise and Tatis, if you didn't have, a Cease, it could add up pretty quickly, but they've overcome a lot of that this year as well. So, I'm a big fan of Luis Arise. I was highly impressed when he got here. He's had some dips in there as well. I think some of it has to do with his overall health, but I think when he's healthy, he's as fun as it gets. And nobody's Tony Gwynn. I'm not comparing him to Tony Gwynn, but he is a modern day example of someone that does stuff like Tony did, which is use all fields. And he has just this kind of remarkable ability to place balls, which is hard to do now in baseball. Like he tries to go the other way. He sees holes and he tries to utilize them, right? Like he hits and goes to the batter's box with an intent. Guys too, but I think he does it and executes on that more than most. And again, there'll never be another Tony Gwynn with this organization, but I do think Tony Gwynn would appreciate watching Luis Arise hit. I really do believe that. I truly believe that. And I'd be surprised if I was wrong in saying that, truthfully. And I want to say his son has said that, by the way, before. So, again, we'll never know. We can't, have that conversation, sadly, between Tony and Luis Arise. But Luis Arise is a phenomenal hitter when healthy. And, hopefully he will be healthy for this team in the stretch run and in the postseason as well. Oh, man, what a night, guys. Anything else? I'm looking at the chat here. Again, I apologize. I try to get to some of the chat. When it's me and Jim, we try to get to some of the chats, just not the super chats. If you want to point something out to me here that we haven't touched on, I'd be happy to get to it over the last handful of minutes here. Let me know. You can just put it in the chat. It doesn't have to be a super chat like that just rolled in. I appreciate you guys, man. Jackson, thank you. Says thanks for the show, John. We appreciate you. Can't do it without you guys. I mean, seriously. I mean, I'm here for you. Seriously, we do this for Padres fans. There's been good years in this. 2020, 2022, 2024. We did it in 2021. Wasn't that fun? Second half of the year, truthfully. 2023, honestly, was a bit of pulling teeth. And we don't want to be critical, but I mean, you got to be fair and you got to be realistic and you got to be unbiased with it. In 2023, you had to be honest. It was disappointing. And in 2024, you got to be honest. This team's fun right now. This team's capable of a lot. So it's fun from our seat, just like it's fun from your seat as well right now. Joe, appreciate you. Appreciate you guys. No, I got it all. Yeah, even by the way, if this game would have been banged after an inning and a half, I still would have done a wrap-up show and I would have killed the situation that played out. I would have absolutely killed the umpiring crew, not literally. I would have, gone berserk, obviously, over the grounds crew and the way that situation played out. This thing was a cacophony of errors is what it was. This was minor league baseball. This was Bush League is how this all played out. And that's honestly disrespectful to minor league baseball where I spent a lot of time. So I don't know what the hell went wrong here tonight. Hopefully they learned from it. Hopefully they're not dealing with it later in the series. I don't know if there's thunderstorms this week in Pittsburgh or not. It's typical probably in August in the East, so it's a possibility, but got through it with a convincing win. So you're going to take it. I'm with you, Joe. Jim is soft. He's in Switzerland. Like, come on, man. It's 9 hours ahead. It's 10:40. So what does that mean? 7:41 in the morning. Hop on, Jim. 7:41 in the morning. I mean, have a croissant with us or whatever people eat in Switzerland, right? Like, come on, open up the phone, get on the internet, and tell us about the trip. And let us know if you stayed up for the game overnight. Were you watching this game at 2 in the morning? That's what I want to know. Come on, Jim. Appreciate you, Miss Do It All. And I'm with you. Yeah, we don't need to anymore. I mean, you almost have to do a comp because it's so much better than 2023, but I'm with you. It's almost it's just a 180. It's just a 180. It really is. Thank you, Flipper. Me and Flipper got into it the other night, but we're boys. It happens. I get into it with Jim. I get into it with my brother. I get into it with family. It happens. I'm glad we could kind of hug it out, so to speak, Flipper. We're boys now, so it's all good. It happens. You're not the first person I've freaked out on over the years on the show, truthfully. Let's see here. Dude, please. Jesus. I think it's been actually decent with Jim gone. Well, it was muted for like half the shows the last 2 days. I don't know what the hell I'm doing when I do the John and Jim shows. And we're having let me explain that for a second, because I'm sure some of you have watched John and Jim on YouTube. We have incredibly frustrating audio issues on John and Jim a lot of the time. We never have audio issues on the wrap-up show because it's just right through our computer. But this is going through like our soundboard at iHeart San Diego. We've requested for it to be fixed. And honestly, it's not, I don't know what they can do either. I think that they are actually trying to rectify it. And I think it's going to take time and money and systems. And I don't know what the deal is. Guys, I don't even know how to freaking go live on this thing if it's not for Jim. So I don't know what the issue is. But the worst part about it is it's completely unpredictable. We could have a great hour. The audio is perfect. You could have a good show. The audio is perfect. And then you could run into like a 10-minute segment. You can't hear anything. It sounds like we're underwater. I don't know why. It sucks. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. In the case that happens, please download the iHeartRadio app because we're there for you on the app for free. If you're in San Diego, listen on San Diego Sports 760. And appreciate you guys trying it on YouTube. We're going to get it fixed. I promise you, we will get it fixed. If it's like Manny Machado said, if he has to blow out his elbow to become Manny Machado, he's going to blow out his elbow. Like, I will do everything in my power to get that damn thing fixed at some point sooner rather than later. I don't know when it's going to happen. It is truly on, like, it's like my one bucket list. We have to fix the damn audio on John and Jim on YouTube because it's ridiculous for our viewers and our listeners. It's not fair to you guys. It's the last thing we want. We appreciate everyone hanging out. I mean, again, we can't do it without you guys, and even more so on the radio. I mean, we really do appreciate your support of us on the radio. Tell your friends about us on the radio. Please, seriously, support the radio show because without the radio show, I don't know if we're doing the wrap-up show either, to be honest with you. Appreciate you, SD Kings. Just pulling up a few of these. Hot, 116. Was there for a couple of nights. Hot, Michael. Very hot, like extremely, extremely hot. Actually, you know what I want to do for a moment? A couple of plugs here if I can. Why is this not working? Real quick. Michael just reminded me of something for some reason, even though it has nothing to do with you, Michael, and MOVA Globes, even though we love our MOVA Globes. Make sure to use promo code PWS10, get 10% off. Guys, we have a brand new Discord server where we've got the Padres conversation going 24/7, 365. We do the wrap-up show for you every day. We do John and Jim for you every weekday. And we got even more going on at Discord. The link is pinned in the top of the live chat right now. It's free to sign up and join. Communicate and talk and interact with more Padres fans day in and day out about every single thing on your mind. We are here for you on Discord. Click the link in the description down below or click the link pinned in the live chat. I think we've got about 90 or so people in there. We only launched it 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago. So it's been fun. I think we had the trade deadline. We launched around the trade deadline. So it's been going on for a couple of weeks, but we'd love to get that well over 100 people interacting on Discord. You can sign up right now, whether you're here live or on replay right now. So check us out. Click the link pinned in the top of the live chat or click the link in the description down below and join us with the wrap-up show on Discord. If you've never used Discord, either had I as of, 2 weeks ago. It's pretty simple to use. It's a pretty fun place to hang out. Basically a message board for Padres fans and wrap-up show viewers and listeners. Thank you, One Cav Scout. I'm going to get out of here in a minute. Just thanking some people and pulling up some chats. And I'll be back again tomorrow night. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. on John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760, YouTube, free iHeartRadio app. And again, tomorrow night as well. Appreciate you, Nightcrawler. Can't wait. Prepping for that right now as well. We're about 25, 26 days out from San Diego State. Losing my voice now. Football. Yes, Chad. Thank you for saying that. I actually have it. Went out today. You'll have it tomorrow. Chad and whomever else. Chad, your bobblehead's coming tomorrow, and whomever else won, their bobblehead is coming tomorrow. They both went out today from the post office in Mission Valley by San Diego State. I'm with you, man. It is because the audio issues. I'm with you. So please listen on the app. Honestly, we don't even get. I don't even think we get. That's a whole nother conversation. But if there's a way for you to consume it, truthfully, listen on the app. I think it's the best way to consume it, and we'll get it figured out on YouTube as well. Yeah, it might be the Wi-Fi, Quan. But then again, me and him use Wi-Fi at home, and we have issues here or there, a glitch or an audio, but I don't know. It's something about going through the soundboard because we're sending in Brent sound and Jim sound and my sound and our bumper music coming back and guests as well. Like it's that combination. It's something about I forget what it's called, like the equalizing or like the balancing of it for whatever, the processing of it. As it gets processed into the board, it's not coming out properly for whatever reason. I don't understand why. I really don't. And I think that'll probably do it. No, you don't have to do this. We'd rather not fix it. You don't have to do that for us, Padre Donkey. I appreciate the offer. That's very generous of you, but no, you're not going to have to do that. Appreciate you, Jeremiah. We'll get it fixed. I promise. Moises, before we get out of here, Friday's meditation equals 3 wins. Bring it home, John. Yeah, remember I was like, namaste. Everyone relax. Flipper was flipping out. I'm like, Flipper, chill. Everyone chill. A 4-1 homestand is a damn good homestand. If they win a series in Pittsburgh, that's a good thing. If they win a series in Miami, it's a good thing. Trust me. Believe me. Watch how it plays out. These are all good. Oh, thank you, Sad, for joining us on Discord. Appreciate that. Yeah, I get it. It can. I understand. You don't have to be active in there. You can just sign up, become a member. Thank you, Normal Heights. No, I see some of these other comments in there. I can't really comment on some of the stuff that goes on the radio, truthfully. Please. Honestly, download the iHeartRadio app and listen to John and Jim on the app. I'm serious. We appreciate it. It's a great way to support the channel. Trust me on that. I did. I think I just got to it. So thank you, Jeremiah. I asked Darnay, actually, and he was just on with me for an hour on John and Jim yesterday. Darnay Tripp, NBC7. He's on, obviously, a lot of nights, Rich, as you know, on NBC7, doing 11 p.m. newscasts. So it's hard for him, 9:30 to 10:30. He's prepping for his newscast and his sportscast. He will be on at some point. I've asked him. So he will be on at some point. Really good question, Zach. I think he should get paid off this year is what I would say. I think he should get multiple years, and I think he should get paid off this year. I hope the Padres can bring him back. I'm optimistic, but I'm not holding my breath. But I'm thinking multiple years, and he's got to get double-digit million per year, right? I mean, he's got to get multiple years at 10 million plus. He should, based on this. How could he not? How could he not? Oh, I like this. James watches on YouTube with radio or Alexa for audio. You just have to sync it up. I love that. Absolutely love that. What about watching on YouTube and syncing it up with the app? I love that. I do. Thank you, James. All right. I'm out of here, right? No, I got this from Murray. I might have missed another in here. What if we win it all? What a thought. Keep that thought. That is a great way to end the stream tonight. Never say never. That's why we do this. That's why we're here, live or on replay. That's why we're here, because we're all here hoping for the same thing, one day to bring a title to the city of San Diego. All right, we got to within about 30 subscribers of 6,700. So everyone watching on replay, please subscribe. You can be the reason why we get to 6,700 subscribers. We appreciate your support. We are the home of Real Padres Talk. Please subscribe. We are here for you in season, out of season, the home of Real Padres Talk. Smash the like button for me. Would love to get to 400 likes on this video. Follow me on X at John Schaefer, JONSCHAEFFER. Thank you for the super thanks. If you're here on replay, we appreciate those as well. If you want to become a member, click the join button down below. Support our partners if you like the wrap-up show. Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Click the link in the description down below. Mark is our title sponsor. Mova Globes. Michael's been here all night with Mova Globes. Great company, great people, great products like this Padres officially licensed Mova Globe. Use promo code PWS10. Click the link in the description down below and get 10% off. And Underdog Fantasy, they've got those offers going on right now. Discounts for NFL Week 1. Make sure to use promo code PADSWRAP. That's PADSWRAP. Get a free special pick and a 50% deposit match, plus those NFL discounts for Week 1 going on now. We'll see you over on Discord and on the radio and on the wrap-up show tomorrow night. For Swish Jim, I'm John. This has been the wrap-up show. Thanks, guys.